The following are features of international marketing: process, economies of scale, dominance of multinational corporations, tariff and non-tariff barriers, presence of trade blocs, foreign exchange, three-phase competition, international forum, and international marketing research. International marketing is a systematic process of developing and introducing the product to the global market. It requires a process for collecting information and analyzing the market before making decisions. Extensive research has to be made in terms of how to brand, package, price, and distribute a product overseas. Before venturing overseas, marketers have to know exactly what people in a country like and do not like. When Nintendo launched the family computer in the USA, they were aware that the original toy-like Japanese design will not appeal to the American market. So they changed its size, color, and design to suit the taste of American consumers. Nintendo went on to sell nearly 30 million family computer consoles in the USA. A company must attain economies of scale to effectively enter international markets. Economies of scale are cost advantages achieved by companies when producing efficiently in large quantities. This happens because costs are spread over a large number of goods. Companies can achieve economies of scale by increasing production, the result of which is the cost per unit of production goes down. So, the bigger the production volume, the lower the cost per unit. This is achieved by having a combination of cost-effective methods aided by machines and well-trained employees. This is the cost advantage of large-scale manufacturers. International marketing deals in larger quantities in comparison to domestic marketing. International marketing means a company will be producing in large volumes and having methods that will reduce cost. This is vital. Buying raw materials in bulk, outsourcing, transportation, handling and logistics, these activities are costly and will ultimately affect the price of the product overseas. So large companies must be aware of the cost advantages brought about by economies of scale. The American and Japanese multinational companies dominate the global market. The reason for this is it is able to have a presence in other countries. Japanese and American multinationals have opened headquarters and branches of operations overseas. The Philippines, for example, hosts a factory of Toyota and also offices of Google, Microsoft, Unilever, Coca-Cola, and Procter & Gamble. International marketing will encounter trade barriers because countries would want to control the kind of goods entering their market. Barriers are imposed by the importing countries. Trade barriers restrict or limit the entry of foreign goods. There are tariffs and non-tariff trade barriers. Tariff barriers are related to taxes, which is costly. Sometimes businesses have to pay high taxes if they wish to sell in a host country. Non-tariff barriers are non-cash barriers. They are restrictions based on the quantity, quality, and specification of goods that are allowed entry in a country. It is important to study a country's trade barriers so as to market products effectively. Trade blocs are a group of countries with special trade agreements to reduce trade barriers for their economic interests. Examples of trade blocs are the ASEAN and the European Union. These countries have mutual interests, so understanding if the home country is a part of a trade bloc is advantageous since it would be natural to market in a trade bloc country. It is important to review the trade bloc agreements and make sure that there are no restrictions for your business. International marketing is subject to foreign exchange regulations since money will be exchanged to local currency. The value of the foreign exchange must be monitored. Fluctuating foreign exchange will affect profits. Take for example, if exporting to the United States of America, the exporter will be paid in the dollar equivalent of the price of their good. Assume local currency to the dollar is $1 equals to 50. If the dollar suddenly devaluates, meaning it becomes cheaper, let's say from $1 to 40, the exporter may lose money since instead of getting 50 per dollar, they get 40 instead. Note this is just a simple example. The point here is that knowledge in foreign exchange is very important. When exporting to other countries, the business will face competition from the following: other suppliers of export country. These are competitors from the country of origin. Local suppliers of importing country. These are local competition in the host country. And exporters of competing nations. These are exporters from all over the world. The World Trade Organization, or WTO, is the best example of an international forum. An international forum is a meeting or gathering of nations. Trade agreements are discussed during international forums, and those engaged in international marketing take interest in the agenda. Trade agreements during international forums have global reach beyond regional economic blocs, and companies must be aware of this. International market research must be conducted before entering an overseas market. The research must focus on the country's social, political, and economic situation. Peace and order, weather, and sources of raw materials must be evaluated. The study of national culture is basic. An understanding of the culture of the country will give information about the consumer behavior and demand. What the people like and dislike will be a part of this. Example is knowledge about the local diet and fashion. By doing this, international marketers will reduce the risk and cut losses. That ends today's lesson. Kindly visit our Google Classroom to access the activity. If you have any questions, just type them in the comment box. Thank you and have a nice day.